and for my classmates, yeah, very confused during translating as well as to find the main point to present. And we have Unit 7 and Unit 10 to present the main point, and these are our group members. We, Miss Jaya, Dongda, Ying, Mong, Song Nang, Sung Linh, and Alisa. Thanks. Next, in this unit is basically talk about procedure and methods in translations. And I found that there are many confusing between methods and procedure in translations, and those procedure and methods are really confused and similar to each other and difficult to identify. And Unit 7 is a general overview to the translation procedure. But as I read the two units, I found that the translation procedure and translation method is really different. The translation method is referred to the whole text, and this translation procedure is referred to sentence and words in the text. So according to Lida procedure that she mentioned below, there are three. First is to underline the source and the target language. So before translating any text, you need to learn about both source language and the target language that you want to translate to. So in order to know what you want the text to be like, so example, you want the text to be in a medical translation or in the law translation or something. B, you need to start in the source text before trying to translate it. You got to learn it, the culture, the identity of the source text. C, number 3 is making a judgment. So making a judgment of the semantics and syntactics related to making a decision. What is the meaning of the words or sentence on the whole text? And as well as you need to talk about syntactic, which equal to the grammar. So how will you translate and how will you find the translation in the target language which fits to the target or to the source language? Okay, number 2, he talked about organizational procedure during translation. First is while translating the text, you might make a lot of evaluations and to make it become a well translations. After making a lot of time translate the text, you might have to contrast your translation with other translators, which means compare your word with other translation, but with other translator words, which has done earlier. Next is checking the text communicated effectively by the reader. So after you translate the text, get the text that you translate or the outcome or the word to the reader, which means the target language reader. So to check whether he or she got or she understand your translation or not. Okay, next is about some theories or translation procedure just by saying quote it. Yeah, he quote it in the book or to Gary. Yeah, and mentioned that there are at least 3 global strategies which used by translators. First, one is translating without interruptions as long as possible. Mean no correction during translating, which means the translation just go flow without any interruptions. Number 2 is correct the surface error immediately. Mean corrects the mistake that made during the translation. So you can restate the words or correct the sentence immediately you are translating the text. Number 3, leaving the monitoring formulation or stylistic error in the text revision stage. So here by not making the translation perfect style, so you try to convert or try to translate the text in the proper way that the listener can understand or the reader, sorry, the reader can understand, not the listener.
Can you give me one example? Ask you
Yes.
Can you give the example of the strength of one number?
Number one and number two, teacher. Translating without interrupt.
What is the example of no correction?
No correction. No correction during the translation, like you translate without checking the errors. Yeah. But number two, correct immediately. You translate and then you read it back and then you see if there is mistake, you do it again.
Example in interpretation field. During interpreting, you make mistake and then you just keep over in the hope that next time you can correct it. For example, you interpret this thing and then you know this is a mistake, but it's not a good time for you to correct it.
Yeah.
Because the process of the original speaker still going on.
Yes.
But you try to keep it in mind and then next time you will correct it.
Okay.
So this is the first one. The second one, you make mistake and then you say sorry,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you use the correct one
Like that.
instead of the mistake.
Yeah.
The biggest mistake. So this is that one.
Okay, thank you. Okay, according to Bell, in 1998, he defined the difference between global strategy and local strategy, which the global strategy is deal with the whole text, the general idea of the whole text, where the local strategy deal with the segment of the word or the sentence or the grammatical contractions in the text. According to Jack Lennon, 2005, he stated in the book Auto Diary that there are another two strategies. So Bell and Lennon has a different strategy. So first he called it a product-related strategy, which involved the basic choosing of the source language text developing a method to translate. As I understand, but I don't know whether it's correct. This is related to the whole text translations. And process related strategy is a set of rule principle which translator use to repeat goals determined by translating situation, which means this is the process by translating sentences and smaller unit could be words. Yeah. Newmark is the famous one. Yeah, I think his translations is really, process and procedure is really famous, which globally used. And I found a lot of his translation method defined by many YouTubers and other lectures on social media. Newmark in 1988 divided the method of translation as following. So first is called word-to-word translations, which is mean the source language words preserved and the word translated silently by their most common meaning is an out of context. That means the word-to-word translation is a straight meaning. That means, example, the word strong tea. So if you translate word to word, it doesn't mean the bitter tea. It means the tea is strong, like powerful tea. But if it is a free translation, that means the tea is bitter, bitter, and hard to drink. Yeah, love at first sight. So if you straightly translate word to word, I don't know how to translate it. Yeah. Literal translations is related to the construction that are converted in the nearest target language. Okay. Example: he is a big liar. Sorry, it should be a big liar. Yeah, he's a big liar. You know the word liar? lie when you tell something that's not true. So he's a big liar. It means he has a big lie. So the thing that he lied is so serious, like that. Yeah. So you see that it follow to the context. That means follow to the situations. Example: if he is as fast as actually we say, as fast as kangaroo. The context is that kangaroo is very fast animal. So that guy must be an active one. He do the same. He does the same fast, and he could be run fast sometimes. Yeah. Next is semantic translations. It is refer to the beauty and the natural sound of words, and it usually used in literature. You can see my example. The face is a photos. So that means a face is really to be described in a lot of meaning in literature, and it has a lot of meaning. Next is adaptation. Adaptation is which is the freest translation form and used mainly in the play or in comedies, poetry, or could be in the drama. Yeah. Example: see smile and tear. When you see a play smile and tear, you could imagine what happened in the play. It could be sad. Yeah, because sad is represent tear. A tear represents that, sorry. Smile represents happiness. Yeah, or cheerful situations. Next is free translations. It produces the target language text without style, form, or content of the original text. That means you can translate it freely according to the to your culture and the target language culture. Example: early birds catch the worm. So this meaning is you translate into your language. That means if you do the thing early, you have more opportunity. Yeah. Example: if you go to school early, you might get to know your teacher. You might get to have the class early to prepare for the test or for your learning or reading. Like father, like son. Yeah. So like that. The next is idiomatic translations. Idiomatic translation produce the message of the original, but tend to distort the nuances of the meaning by preferring colloquialisms and idiomatic where do not exist in the source text. So the target language that you translate is not what it contains in the source text. As you can see in the sentence, my eye is hard on you. So it's a very idiomatic meaning when you translate into your language. It means I remember you. So you see the meaning in this target language no exists in here. That means it does not contain in this source language. Next is the communicative translation. It is a language that readily acceptable both readership and comprehension. That means the reader can easily understand the translations. Okay, example: no parking, be aware of the dog. So when everyone says no parking, you don't have to say you can't park the car here. You don't have to say that, but because it is a very communicative translation. Be aware of the dog. You don't have to say my dog is very dangerous. You don't have to say that, but you just say be aware of the dog, so everyone know because it is a communicative translation. Everyone knows that the dog is really dangerous. It might bite you, or you might be bitten by the dog, or chased by the dog. Yeah. So that's all I would like to pass my presentation to my next presentation.
Like we respect to our teacher and our friend in class. A little bit nervous, but try my best. So please input, please. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So second point is procedures of translating cultural and specific concepts. In here, there are a few theories. A person is like a baker. It has 19 cultural specific concept. People who concept is totally unknown in the target culture. And another person is Gladler, who has mentioned that in Odoria, and gave some procedure of translating. And he also give 4 points. It's like one is making up a new word, and second is explaining the meaning of the source language expression in a lay of translating it. Third is preserving the source language term intact. Intact is mean the same. Four, opting it means choose a word choose a word choose a word in text language that's similar to the same to the relevance as the source term. Okay, right?
I can give you one example, and then you can get some clue for this one. Example, because this is related to culture. Example, volunteer. How can you translate it? So number one,
Yeah, making a new word.
yeah, sure. You can translate what the song style, what the place of life, what the volume, what one side, one progress, another one side.
And temperature, yeah. So, Harvard 2000 was in